Testing, testing.
Testing.
Say it into the mic.
Testing. Testing.
I think it works. Really?
I'll be louder. Oh, look, there's a pen. There's plenty of pens.
Yeah, there's lots.
That's a weird pen.
Yep, it's definitely a pen.
Yes.
That's also a very strange pen.
That's a weird pen right there.
It's used for drawing on sidewalks. I don't know,
think that's,
for
I
the
think
water.
That's called chalk. Yeah,
Oh, I see. You shouldn't drink that.
What time?
All right, time to start. Are they ready?
Signs.
We're ready.
Put your sign up. Like.
Yeah. That there.
Are we ready? Are we good?
Please rise as the colors are presented. Troop attention. Color guard advance. Scout salute. Please place hand over heart if not in uniform. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of Liberty and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color guard, return to ranks. Oh, please post the colors. Color guard, return to rank. You may all be seated. You must, thank you. They missed it.
I know. Thank you, Troop 559 Color Guard. Hello, my name is Abby Saputis.
And I'm Evan Solid.
We, along with Scoutmaster Snyder, wish to welcome you to Jonathan Nelson's Eagle Court of Honor. This ceremony will recognize the accomplishments that Jonathan has achieved throughout his career as a Scout in Troop 559. First, please welcome Pastor Kelly Lehman to lead us in the invocation.
Welcome to the Grove this afternoon. It's just an honor to have this held in our church where Jonathan is one of our regular participants and a leader of our student ministry. Would you join me in prayer? God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as family, friends, leaders, and fellow Scouts on this significant day in the life of Jonathan Nelson. Today is a celebration of a journey full of challenges, friendships, struggles, and fun. Today we think of all the merit badges earned along the way, the oaths committed to, the character developed, and the service to our community. Little by little, month by month, and year by year, Jonathan has been faithful, and we celebrate his faith, commitment, and hard work. We ask for your blessing on Jonathan and his family who have supported and encouraged him, and we ask for your blessing on his fellow Scouts who have helped him along the way. Continue to walk with Jonathan on his life's path. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Olmod. We will begin the ceremony by hearing from some of the people who have worked closely with Jonathan and who have influenced him throughout the years. Please help me welcome our first speaker, Mr. Peterson.
They're super glasses. First things first, congratulations, Jonathan. You have done it. You are now marked in permanent history of Troop 559 and its esteemed alumni of honored Eagle Scouts that have come before you. You are now an inspiration and example for those Eagle Scouts following in your footsteps. I would like to thank you for allowing me the privilege and the opportunity to share with our scouting family gathered here today in your honor some of my thoughts and recollections that I have gained while working and learning alongside you as you explored and devised, crafted, and followed on your own scouting journey. I must admit, I had found myself smiling, quite a lot actually, looking back at my service here for Troop 559 as Scoutmaster. And that of a young, highly energetic, very highly driven, and very highly determined Scout looking and striving to become the leader that I now see that you have become. Was the road easy and without challenges? Well, for my short 3 or so years as your Scoutmaster, I would say very much not so. And to add, perfectly so. While I was recalling those younger years, a quote that came to mind that I feel sums up those trying times we've all experienced as we search for that leadership style that seems to work for all. That being, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways it won't work. Said Thomas Edison, like you, on his way to making his own mark in history. Anyway, did I mention that you had a determined aura about you, Jonathan? This resolute fire burning intently within you, I must say honestly, is exactly the trait which I admire most in you. You approach nearly all things with tenacity and such fierce focus, which then, as a young scout, often led you down the path of ambiguity. I watched you learn firsthand that it's not easy as it sounds to get everyone to follow, as you found out quickly. Many will and do often challenge your direction, even when it seemed that all logic and reason supported the cause. Welcome to Leadership 101. Over the course of those early years with the Lightning Wolves, I continued to watch you relentlessly continue in your pursuit to learn and lead. Successes in various forms, sometimes a little less than others, but valuable lessons you absorbed in all. Never once did I see you show a hint of quitting. Matter of fact, I don't think quitting was really in your vocabulary, at least in my opinion. You pushed through frustrations, adapted to challenges, very wisely reached out for counsel, and rejoiced in your wins. Your prowess continued to improve experience by experience through the toils of those first-year scouts, second-year scouts, and as I was beginning to move on to my next chapter, I was starting to see in you the spark of future leadership that would play its critical role in bringing us through some of those very different and tough times during that spiky little bug thing floating around. Then, an early peak of an Eagle Scout, by no doubt. I knew then, and justly believed, that you would successfully carve your path to the highest achievement in scouting. Now here, celebrating with us today, the honor you now will eternally wear. The drive was in you since the day you crossed over into the troop. You had the passion and enthusiasm, and you had the scouting spirit, and even some great parental support, even though maybe a bit nagging sometimes. But bottom line, you kept placing one foot in front of the other. Over the last few years, I was happy to hear from time to time the trials and challenges that begot you in those early scout leadership years brought you to more challenges and successes through those 510 days as a Life Scout. All notable experiences you'll recall someday when you may yourself find yourself as an old graybeard Scoutmaster. Again, to share a small quote I believe to reflect your younger scouting spirit as well as sage advice for the future, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. John F. Kennedy. To switch gears a little, I'd like to go back to the energetic first and second year scout I remember most, running around Tomahawk Scout Camp. Jonathan, you just couldn't resist anything, any of the activities, and very much enjoyed the bigger scout activities, like shotgun, swimming, the offerings of the high adventure course, and of course, the rifle range. Although I am thinking you may have been pulled there a few extra times by Sir Beast Mode. I do actually think it was great to see you support your your father, as he strived to gain that coveted Dime Club hat. And to be honest, I really don't know which one of you two was more excited once that feat was achieved. But hold on, this story isn't about him. What I do want to point out, Jonathan, is that you really took scouting spirit and slam dunked it, taking advantage of all the skills offered in this great organization. These experiences you would continue to mature, and later on would be found sharing those skills with the confident leadership on those younger scouts following. Thus, then passing the torch, per se, along this your path to leadership, teaching true scouting spirit and how to carry the Eagle Scout honor that you have earned and which we celebrate today. Thank you for utilizing those activities to the fullest. It very much energizes and keeps those activities supported and fed for years to come. Plus, it does give some adults things to do to stay out of trouble. Yeah, the memories, those adults. Anyways, please remember this famous quote from Scoutmaster P, often shouted far across fields. Less parenting, more scouting. Jonathan, bottom line is, I'm sure you understand that Troop 559 will always have a spot around its campfire for you. You can confidently march off to your next adventure, confidently knowing you have helped build Troop 559 to be better, more capable, and more successful organization for years of aspiring scouts to come. Your honor and your experience to our troop, chapter, and council to our community and to our country, and most importantly, to yourself, are truly commendable, and wearing the Eagle badge is simply one example of the great things you have accomplished and a marker you will proudly wear here on for those great things you've yet to achieve. I myself am truly grateful to have personally grown from being one of your guides along this trail that you yourself have blazed. And to close, I'd like to share a quote with you, Jonathan, that reflects my vision of who you were in those early years, who I've heard and seen you to become in these later years, and something I know with my heart you will truly understand. A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his actions and the integrity of his intent. General MacArthur. Thank you for your time. Congratulations, Jonathan.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I would now like to introduce Dr. Green, who has a few words to say about Jonathan.
And did you leave your water up here too? Or, I don't know, Mr. Peterson. Oh, okay. All right, so I have to adjust this. Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Green, and I am in ASM in Troop 559. I am honored that Jonathan asked me to speak to all of you today at his Eagle Court of Honor. I have known Jonathan for a long time. When I say a long time, I mean I have known him since he was shorter than I am. I know, hard to believe, he was shorter than me. At that time, back then, it took a Jonathan and a quarter to reach this green. Now, I think it may take a green and a half to measure a Jonathan today. Some of you may not get this reference, but those of you that do, we are lucky. Noah is not here today for me to climb on his shoulders to get accurate height measurements. I know talking about this skit is a way that I can always get a smile on Jonathan's face. Jonathan and my daughter Ellen went to elementary school together. I won't get into details, but I believe that they may have been in classes together for 3 years in a row. I did hear some stories coming home about him and the classes they shared together. We'll skip those details here today. Today, we can see how much Jonathan has grown through Scouts. Physically, yes. We can all see he has grown a lot since 3rd grade. But he has grown in many, many other ways that have brought him here today. All of us here know Jonathan. Most of the time, he is more serious than silly. Most of the time, he is making sure things are done following the rules. Many times, Jonathan takes himself and others a bit more seriously than others do. Now, I may be the complete opposite. I may get in trouble sometimes for being too silly. I may get in trouble for not following the exact rules, like climbing on Noah's shoulders. But through Scouting, I feel that Jonathan and I have created a connection, one of mutual respect for our differences, and one that, surprisingly, we find ways to complement each other. I remember almost a year ago at Tomahawk Service Weekend, finishing up a Saturday night conversation with Jonathan after a long day of work. Jonathan telling me how our conversations always ended on a positive note as he wondered aloud if I could speak at his Eagle Court of Honor. I was honored when Jonathan asked me to speak today, and his reasoning warmed my heart, that every conversation we have had in Scouting always ends on a positive. Well, Jonathan, I'd agree with you. One of my favorite memories that show his growth through Scouting is with the Citizenship and Society Merit Badge. The troop decided to do this merit badge at a hammock campout, and this was my first time teaching it. I talked to Mr. Nelson before the campout, and he had said that Jonathan was a bit apprehensive about this one and was not excited to do it, but knew that it was now a requirement if he wanted to earn the rank of Eagle. Now, this hammock campout was an adventure in general that many of us will not forget. Imagine setting up hammocks with 37 Scouts, many who have never even taken their hammocks out of the bag, in the pouring, cold rain. What a great way to set up a weekend. I, however, was so excited to teach this merit badge as it was completely my kind of merit badge. Talking about developing future leaders through character education, inclusion, equity, perspective taking, ethics, and more to make Scouting more inclusive and welcoming to all, so that all Scouts feel that they have an opportunity to truly belong. This merit badge revolves around deep, open, honest, and respectful conversations. I can see why this merit badge would potentially be uncomfortable for many. It is very outside of the box thinking, looking deeply into the perspectives of others and trying to understand and support differing beliefs. This is hard for many teenagers, and Jonathan was not the exception. But he was open and honest about his hesitancy with this beforehand, which was a huge step. Starting this merit badge, we were all already tired and a bit grumpy from the previous night, me included. But to make a long story short, the session went amazingly well. We had wonderful conversations, we were open and honest with each other, and we all learned together. I could not have asked for a better group of scouts to lead through this merit badge. Some were quieter than others, Jonathan included, but they all participated. At the end of the campout, one of my most meaningful experiences in scouting occurred. Jonathan came up to me and thanked me. He told me how hesitant he was prior to this merit badge and his why of it. But then he told me that he actually enjoyed the session and had a new perspective on some things and had a better understanding of why scouts brought this merit badge in and made it an Eagle requirement. In the same breath, he said he wouldn't necessarily want to repeat it, but he did enjoy it and learned from it. This is what Scouts is about. It is learning, growing, being open-minded for new experiences, building upon your knowledge base to change into the adults that will change the world. This one merit badge experience, to me, exemplifies how Scouts has helped Jonathan to do all of those things and incorporate all of his experiences into the person he is today. He took an experience that he was not necessarily comfortable with and made the best of it, growing in the process. I, like Mr. Peterson, am a quote person, and finding a quote to represent Jonathan in his scouting journey was a little harder, to the point that I had to enlist Ellen to help, but I think we found one. Becoming isn't about arriving somewhere or achieving a certain aim. I see it instead as forward motion, a means of evolving, a way to reach continuously toward a better self. The journey doesn't end. It's from Michelle Obama in her book, Becoming. Jonathan has arrived somewhere. He has achieved one of his goals, but this is just the forward motion. This is part of his evolution into a better self. Jonathan is not done. The journey does not end. This one title is not the end of Scouts for Jonathan. He will continue to evolve, continue to reach his upcoming goals. The journey continues, and I'm excited to see all of the next steps in Jonathan's journey and where they take him, as I know that they will take him farther than any of us could imagine, including all of us who have known him since he was smaller than a green. Scouts has been great for Jonathan. I believe it has been something that has been a positive experience for his whole family. And Jonathan has been great for our troop. He has taught all of us many things, things that will last long into the future of the troop. Jonathan evolved through scouting. He has bettered himself. Though Jonathan now will have his name on the trailer of the troop, he has made an impression far beyond that. His legacy in Scouts will live on, and I hope he is proud of the legacy he will leave. Jonathan, you've met the goal of achieving the rank of Eagle. Remember not to take yourself or others too seriously all the time. Remember to laugh and be silly sometimes, and remember to let others see the authentic you. I hope that you continue to be actively involved in Scouts, continue to lead and influence, to continue to live up to the tenets of the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. You are and will always be an Eagle. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Green. I now call upon Ellen Green and Joshua Crislip to explain the Eagle Trail.
I'm just gonna say you both dropped a pen and we'll leave it at that. When you became a scout, there should have been instilled within you something that we call the spirit of scouting. This lighted candle represents that spirit. Because the spirit of scouting embodies the fine principles of the Scout Oath and Law, it became a shining beacon of inspiration. After you entered scouting, the Scout Law that you promised to obey is put into effect as the occasion may demand. And so, one by one, using the flame from the spirit of scouting, we light the symbols that stand for the part of this law. There are 12 parts, all important and all meaningful. Each is an important foundation stone in the building of strong character. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Given these 12 points as guiding beacons to follow the Eagle Trail, you learned and ascribed to the 3 promises of the Scout Oath. First is duty to God and country. Second is duty to other people. Third is duty to self. We remember when you took your first steps upon the trail that led upwards. First, with that first step, you began to grow physically, mentally, and morally. You started living the Scout Oath and Law, building within you, yourself, knowledge and leadership capabilities that became more challenging and more rewarding with each rank advancement earned. These milestones accomplishments were the ranks of Scout, Tenderfoot, Second Class, First Class, Star, Life, and now, before your fellow Scouts, family, friends, and your God and country, the rank of Eagle Scout. I now call upon Mr. Peterson and Mr. Mogul to convene the Eagle Court of Honor.
On and Joshua. By the authority vested in me by the Northern Star Council and the National Council Scouts BSA, I declare this Court of Honor to be duly convened. The Eagle Scout Award is recognition of the National Court of Honor Scouts BSA presented through the local council. Not every Scout can qualify for the high award of Eagle because the physical requirements are strenuous, as set forth in the required merit badges. The mental standards are high and require much more than the average perseverance. Even more important for the Eagle Award is the personal character of the Scout as reflected in his attitude towards God, country, and the ideals of Scouting. These are reflected in his cooperation and service to others in church, home, school, community, and nation. Jonathan Nelson, please come forward now, stand facing the audience. The Scout movement constitutes one of the most wholesome and significant developments of our day and of all time. You have been deemed worthy to receive a high award in this membership. You are a marked man and will be judged by this mark for the rest of your life. As an Eagle Scout, you will be asked to assume a solemn obligation to your duty to your God, your country, your fellow Scouts, and your fellow citizens. At an Eagle Board of Review, a careful examination was made of your scouting record and as of you as a person. In order that all here may understand the completeness of that examination, we have asked Scout leaders from your adult committee to report on your qualifications as determined by the Board of Review. I now call upon Mr. Mogul.
The first consideration in examining the Scout as a candidate was a proficiency in various crafts and skills prescribed for the Eagle Award. This applicant presented records of merit badges earned. These were carefully checked. This applicant has been certified as duly appointed merit badge counselors, and the Board of Review found him fully qualified for the merit badges required for the rank of Eagle Scout Award. Another consideration for the Eagle Award is leadership. The Board of Review carefully considered the applicant's records as to leadership in the troop, community, school, and the applicant was found to have demonstrated his capacity and willingness to exert leadership in activities that are constructive and worthwhile, and he was found qualified for the Eagle Award. Last, but certainly not least, was the character of the applicant. We contacted teachers, the pastor of his church, and others, and the findings were presented to the Board of Review. The board determined this applicant was satisfactorily putting into daily practice the use of the Scout Oath, law, motto, and slogan. He was found to be qualified to become an Eagle Scout, and the board further stated that they believe, He will continue these habits of conduct in the future.
In light of these inquiries by the Eagle Board of Review and their favorable results, we declare that the candidate has completed all of the requirements for the Eagle Award and that he is indeed an Eagle Scout. We forwarded our findings to the National Court of Honor, Scouts BSA, who concurred with us that this scout is qualified to be presented with the Eagle Award.
The candidate has been supported and encouraged by his parents, grandparents, and family throughout his scouting career, and we would now ask them to come stand with him. I also ask that all Eagle Scouts present, both youth and adults, to come forward and form a semicircle around the candidate. Scouting is a religious experience. In fact, scouting is a religious act. The 12th point of the Scout Law is a scout is reverent. I thus ask Pastor Lon to please come stand with our Eagle Scout. Sorry. I now call upon Scoutmaster Snyder and Mr. Peterson for the Eagle charge.
Ladies and gentlemen, I represent all Scouts who have received the Eagle Award. We do not object to the awarding of this badge, but we do believe that the applicant should understand that the Eagle rank is a responsibility as well as an honor. We respectfully ask that this applicant be informed of the responsibilities of an Eagle Scout before the badge is awarded.
We concur. Please state the responsibilities of an Eagle Scout for this applicant.
The first obligation of an Eagle Scout is to live with honor. It is symbolized by the white in the Eagle Scout badge. An Eagle Scout's honor is sacred. Honor is the foundation of all character. Character is what one really is, not what one thinks he is. An Eagle's life should influence his family, school, and friends in a positive manner. May the white of your badge remind you to live with honor always. The second obligation of an Eagle Scout is loyalty. It is designated by the blue in the badge. Without loyalty, all character lacks direction. To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night to day. Thou canst not be false to any man. Neither pain, profit, pride, nor personal loss shall change him in his loyalty. The third obligation of an Eagle Scout is courage, as symbolized by the red in the badge. Courage gives character, force, and strength. Trusting God and with faith in his fellow men, he faces each day unafraid and seeks his share of the world's work to do. The final obligation of an Eagle Scout is service. He extends a helping hand to those who toil along the scouting trail, just as others helped him in his achievement of the Eagle rank. The habit of the daily good turn must take on a new meaning in life of service to all those who need him. He protects and defends the weak and the helpless. He aids and comforts the unfortunate and oppressed. He upholds the rights of others while defending his own. He knows well and will always be prepared to put forth his best. Jonathan, are you willing and eager to accept the responsibilities as well as the honor of an Eagle Scout?
Eagle Scout Jonathan, there is one further requirement that you subscribe to the Eagle Scout Oath. I charge you to enter the Eagle Scout Brotherhood, holding before you the ideals of honor and service. After you repeat the Eagle Scout Oath before your fellow Scouts and Scouters, you will become a member of the Eagle Brotherhood. Though the words you use will be similar to those by which you joined Scouting, today they will mean more than they could have meant at any time in the past. When you pledge your sacred honor, you will be sealing your eternal loyalty to the code of the Eagle Scout. Will the audience please rise? Scouts and Scouters, attention. Eagle Scout Jonathan, give the Scout sign and repeat after me. I reaffirm my allegiance
I reaffirm my allegiance
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I thoughtfully recognize
I thoughtfully recognize
and take upon myself
and take upon myself
the obligations
the obligations
and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
On my honor,
On my honor,
I will do my best
I will do my best
to make my training,
to make my training,
example,
example,
and influence
and influence
count strongly for better scouting
count strongly for better scouting
in my troop,
in my troop,
in my community,
in my community,
and in my contacts with other people.
and in my contacts with other people.
Always.
Always.
To this I pledge my sacred honor.
To this I pledge my sacred honor.
By the authority vested in me by the National Court of Honor and the Scouts BSA, it is my privilege and pleasure to confer upon you the award of Eagle Scout. May the oath you've taken remain graven in your heart always. The audience may now be seated. Eagle Scouts, you may return to your seats. Mr. and Mrs. Nelson, we will present some awards. We'll call you back in just a moment. For the wisdom and guidance given to you by your father, which is presented in the Eagle Pin, which we will be proud to wear at your home. Hours of patience and guidance given you by her efforts. We over your mother's heart. In addition to a Eagle Scout.
This one is for Grandma, unfortunately was not able to get it.
Jonathan, would you like to present mentor pins to those you feel have provided guidance and encouragement as you pursue the rank rules?
If Mr. Peterson, who's already right here, Mr. Peterson, Mr. Cole Moen, and Mr. Green could come up here, please. You, Mr. Green. You. First one for Mr. Peterson here, who is obviously littered with them. That you are. He gave up 3 years of his scouting career just to help me out and give a nice little speech on top of it. So I'd like to thank him. The second one, I'd like to give one to Cole Moen, who was one of the first scouts who ever helped me on my scouting journey. Though he may not have been my first troop guide, he effectively was my first troop guide in helping to guide me along my path. Thank you. And my final one, Mr. Green, who I don't think suspected I'd be giving one, is for helping me out during my Cub Scout journey and my years as being Cub Scout. Though he may not have realized that he was also a very large help in my entire journey. And I'd like to thank him.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. So at this time, let us offer a round of applause for our new Eagle Scout, Jonathan. I will now turn things over to Miss Abby Spruce and Evan Solomon.
Do I go just down or do I just keep standing up here? I'm just going to stand up here.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson and Scoutmaster Snyder. Jonathan would like to make a few remarks at this time.
Oh, yeah, that's I'm going to say this first off, I'm definitely not one for speeches. This took me like 6 rewrites and 2 times to my parents telling me that I probably should rewrite it again. Well, I have to say I never thought I'd be standing behind this podium for my own Court of Honor. I've gone through 6 very, very full years of scouting, with 1 still to go. Some were definitely very exciting years, others were incredibly dull years, and one of them had me locked in my house, which was not the most fun of my life. Over those 6 years, I've had plenty of time to experience what I've come to think the vision of Scouts BSA may be. There have been many names and faces during my years that have assisted me. There are actually too many for me to list, so I'm going to list the ones that I found most notable. My Scoutmasters, Mr. Peterson, Mr. P, and Mr. Snyder, were both massive parts of my scouting career and still are massive parts of my scouting career. The many senior patrol leaders I've worked with have also been incredibly helpful, giving me the opportunities I needed to be able to stand right at this podium. Another big thanks goes to my pastor, Kelly Lehman, who is somewhere, for helping me out with my Eagle project and giving me this space for the Court of Honor. A lot more people have also allowed me the opportunity to advance, and I thank all of you for that. The final thanks goes to my parents sitting right in front of me. Without them, I surely would have never gotten to this very podium and have been able to read this very paper. To my father, Thomas, for his hours of tenting with me, teaching me, and scolding me into being a better man. To my mother, Christine, for her many late nights of emails, her many other Eagle Courts of Honor that I assisted her with, and the constant question of, hey, why don't you try insert merit badge here? I've led multiple campouts in my time, including the well-known and well-attended zipline campout. I've gone to many more campouts in my life, going to Tomahawk for 6 years and working for 2 of them. I've had plenty of leadership roles, and I still fill one, an instructor for the troop. I've had a lot of time to work with many of the scouts in this room, trying to help others get past the barriers I faced as a younger scout. As any scout can claim, I own plenty of knives, each of them telling their own story. But my favorite one will forever be the red and black knife I owned, the first knife I ever owned as a member of Scouts BSA. This knife I first acquired in the Tomahawk of 2019, and it was a reward from my father after I completed the swimming merit badge, a merit badge I did not like. The campouts I brought it with have been many, and it's definitely something that I will continue to bring with me. Back to what I think that vision of Scouts BSA was. I like to think of a scout as being something like a knife, a multi-tool maybe. They're sharp when they're first joined. They cut through whatever gets in their way, but over time, unless they're kept sharp, they begin to dull. Part of resharpening a scout, just as it is a knife, is to me helping them grow. When you first get a rank, the rank of scout, you feel so full of energy and joy, and you're excited to keep going along that path. When you get Eagle, well, I'd like for the scouts in this very room to one day hopefully find out how that feels for themselves. Thank you.
I now invite Abby Saputis to make a presentation to Jonathan on behalf of Troop 559.
Jonathan, on behalf of, I'll come down there a second. Just stay there. On behalf of Troop 559, I would like to present this gift of a Eagle Scout buck knife with your name engraved on the side.
Thank you. Thank you, Abby. I now invite Scoutmaster Snyder to present the flags, letters of congratulations that Jonathan has received, and to offer his closing remarks.
So, to start with, Jonathan, you have done a tremendous amount of work. You face the audience, and those who take note of his merit badge stash. I believe 47?
46 or 47.
47, according to our advancement person, Mrs. Romaine. And that qualifies you for a series of Eagle poems, which I am excited to share. Jonathan, you have earned 5 Eagle poems, which you can wear. The gold ones carry forward, and we'll look this up, but the gold ones are the ones you can wear. Congratulations, 5 poems is actually pretty rare for us. All right. Let's start with a local. In scouting, we have the opportunity to order and present in recognition for you flags that have flown over the state capitol building. Each of these were flown on May 27th of this year in recognition of your earning and achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. We have the United States flag. We also have a properly folded, I might add, state of Minnesota flag. These will be very beautiful. And in addition to that, I'll mention that this is my first because I have not had one of these yet. This is a flag that was flown over the United States Capitol building on that same day, May 27th. This one here is over our national capital, so congratulations for that. That's something certainly to cherish. In addition to that, we have lots of letters that I would encourage the audience to take a look at when they have a chance to go join us later. Jonathan has prepared a notebook here of some notable letters of congratulation letters that he's received, which there's lots of really good ones. We have a number from the advancing committee at the national level of Scouts PSA, your local CEO the oath, and there are a number of letters here. One's from Tina Smith, Senator Tina Smith, and we also have a letter in here from the office of George W. Bush as well. Coast Guard, various sports teams, and lots of really good letters of recognition for you and achievement. So I do encourage everyone to take a minute and just kind of thumb through this really interesting letters. And last but not least, Jonathan, I present to you a one-of-a-kind certificate of your award. Set this as there's only one. So
Make sure I have it framed in some.
congratulations to you, and I will close with a few other. I too have had a chance to know Jonathan for a number of years, being the same age as one of my sons and having an opportunity to not only participate in scouting, but a variety of other events. One notably is he was on the same baseball team as my youngest son. And we had a blast. It was fun. It was really cool to watch Jonathan. And if you think he's driven in scouts, wait till you get him on the sports field. So it was certainly an honor to have been able to be your scoutmaster and be a part of your scouting community as you've gone through. So I've certainly appreciated that. I'd like to close today with a Scoutmaster Minute that we've used in the past, but it was one that Jonathan really liked, and I wanted to share that with you. I am the whisper of wind in the top of the oak and pine. I am the first curl of smoke of a campfire. I am the crunch of gravel under a hiking boot. I am the splash of light on a canoe paddle. I have walked the surface of the moon. I have worked in the Oval Office. I have heard the call of the eagle. I have breathed life into another's lungs. My honor hovers over Arlington and the tomb. My courage has been tested in battle, flood, fire, and storm. My skills are basic and have prepared many for life and service. My vision is clear and undimmed by the passage of time. You can see me in parents' pride-filled eyes at a court of honor. You can smell me in a cup of fire-brewed hot chocolate. You can hear me in the silence of a snow-covered forest. You can feel me carefully on the edge of a fresh sharpened axe. I have been told of your past by my kindred. I walk and breathe in the present. I can only dream of your tomorrows. I am the scouting spirit. Pass me on. Congratulations, Jonathan. I wish you only the best in your scouting journey and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Scoutmaster Snyder. The Nelson family invites you to join them for a reception for Jonathan immediately following the ceremony.
Please rise. Those reading the colors. Troop attention. Color guard, advance. Color guard, retrieve the colors. Scouts, salute, please place your hand on your heart if you are not wearing uniform. Color guard, return to rank. Assembly at ease. You may all break for the after party.
Nice job, guys. Thank you.
Reception.